This conversation starts calm, and then everything shifts. Let's break it down on Choir Media.
And Casey, go ahead. I'm good. What you got for me?
I have a couple of questions, or a couple of things I wanted to talk to you about. But first, I just want to, you talked about the HSV. I'm assuming you're talking about herpes. Herpes type 1,
Yeah, I try not to say the word because it
oh,
triggers the
sorry.
algorithm. Yeah.
90% of Americans have it, and you can get it on your genitals. It's better to get it on your genitals, and you will
Yeah.
usually only have one outbreak. So it's not
Okay.
true that will ruin your dating outlook. You can get the cold sore on your genitals.
Mm-hmm.
I think was misinformation. But going on from that, I want to say you talk about how little there are, like how the small number of high value men there are. And I'm wondering, when you're telling women this, are you also factoring in white men, Hispanic men? Are you just assuming that black women only want to date black men that are high value?
Casey, you
Yes.
have a point of view. Okay. And are you a swirler?
I am an advocate for
No, no,
black
no.
women
Just,
dating out. There have been
okay.
too many white
Okay.
doctors
All right.
that
Hold
have.
on. Hold on.
Okay.
Then at least do me the honor of being blunt. That's what you are, and that's fine. But I think you have me pegged in the category of a foe or an adversary, and I'm not. So I don't know where you got your information from or why you feel like you need to come correct me about what I'm saying to black women, but they understand what I'm saying just fine. If you're an advocate for black women dating out, good. But
For the people.
most people want to be with their own group. But to answer your question in particular, I don't really make a separation between high value black, white. That's if you listened, Blake Henry, Brad, Lee, Ahmed, Keith, and Enrique. That covers the entire gamut. A
Okay.
person should become the best version of themselves and pick from the whatever they choose is their preference. But the stark reality is this.
Mm-hmm.
When a black man chooses to become high value, there are far fewer matching black women. Because first off, the fitness characteristic. And if you are an advocate for dating out, I'm quite sure you are familiar with some of the largest content providers on this YouTube platform. And she even said she had to stop. One of them said she had to stop talking about the fitness component to her people when she's an advocate for getting the highest caliber men of any race. Said it right here on this channel. So due respect, I think you're trying to put me in a position that I won't fit.
Okay. I'm not really trying to do that. I just want to make sure that when you're
Well,
speaking to black women,
yes, ma'am,
you're
but you
letting.
kind of are.
It's important for black women to know that they have options
No, ma'am,
outside
it's
of black
important.
men.
First off, what is important is this is a man's channel. That's what this is. So I've allowed
Okay.
you to
Also, I just
speak.
want to touch
No,
on
no,
there
no,
are
no, no,
people in
no.
the
You're
comments.
not going to jump over top. No, no, no. That's what you're not going to do. See, this is what tends to happen when I allow people to speak. You think you can say what you want. If you want to advocate for women, advocate for women. This is a man's channel. So if you can comport yourself like everyone else seems to be, fine. If not, I'll bid you a good night, man.
Okay. Also, I just want to say that you speak a lot about black women being overweight and how Gen Z black men are
Okay,
not
I
even
don't.
looking at
Is
black
it
black
true?
women.
Is 80? Okay, ma'am. According to all the data that we have, 80% of black women are overweight. Is that true or false?
This is true. I'm saying that you
Okay,
don't
then
speak
it's not that.
about.
Okay, ma'am, stop. Then it's not that I speak about it. It's a statement of fact and observable reality. See, what you're doing is being disingenuous. It's not as though I'm saying something that's not true. And it's a problem.
It
And here's
is.
the problem I have with women like you. You always want there to be balance. Do you go to any of these swirling platforms that demand balance when they're talking about black men? I love to hear you go to any of these dating out platforms and demand for balance.
Okay.
Do
Kevin,
you? Do you?
yes. Yes,
Who?
I
What
do.
channel? What channel? What
I,
platform? What platform?
with Shara,
With who?
with
Shira 7?
Crystalline, with
Shira,
Shira,
you said
with
with
all of
who?
them.
Hold on, hold.
With
Who was the first
Shira,
one you
with
said?
Crystalline,
Stop. Who was the first one you said?
Shira,
Shira who?
Shira 7.
She's a level up. She's not necessarily talking about interracial dating. Her husband's black. That
She
doesn't,
has,
ma'am, that's not her platform.
okay.
Next.
Okay, and so
No, I'm
my
asking,
point
no,
is though that,
I asked you the swirling platforms that you
oh,
go
okay,
to.
Crystalline.
Okay, you go to Crystalline's platform, and in her live streams and in her comment section, you advocate for her to speak balance about black men.
Yes, because she talks a lot about how a
Right. I'm
lot
going to
are
go
in
check for that.
prison,
I'm going
a
to go
lot
check. I'm going
leave.
to go check. No, what I'm going to do is I do my homework, ma'am, because I've actually listened to Crystalline's platform. I've actually have heard of her long before she actually came over here. And here's the thing, ma'am. I never really hear any advocacy for black men. What I do hear is a lot. You talk about what I say. Are we being serious, ma'am? Because if you're honestly trying to have a conversation talking about what I say versus over there, you shouldn't even be speaking.
Yeah, but you bring up the black woman stat, but she brings up the black male stats. You never bring up the incarceration rates, the
You see how this goes? This is how this goes. I'm going to ask you one question. And depending on how you answer it, we can either have a conversation or we can't.
okay.
Why are you here?
I'm just trying to get a better understanding of like you list the black women stat a lot, but there are a lot
Why
of
are
negative
you
black
here? Why
there
are
I'm getting
stop?
to
No, no, no.
that.
I don't need you to get to that. I need you to answer the question, ma'am. I don't need you
I
to tell
just
me.
want
I
you to
don't know.
say the
Stop.
negative
Stop.
black male stats as
No,
well.
no, 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 no. Why are you here?
I want you to talk about the negative black male stats. There are a million.
No,
Why?
because I don't have to. It's my platform. I'm not going to do what you want me to do. You have a YouTube channel. You go do that.
It's not fair. There's only one negative black woman
I
stat.
don't
Wait,
care what you think is fair. You don't have to be here. It's not, obviously, this is not see, what you're doing is you're coming to a restaurant, trying to tell the owner what to put on the menu, and you're not buying anything.
okay. You won't even let me list some
I
of the
don't,
stats, though.
I said you're coming to a restaurant, telling the owner what to put on the menu, and you're not buying anything. Does that sound sane?
I did give you a super chat.
Ma'am, you're coming into a restaurant, asking the owner to put something on the menu, telling him what you want on the menu, and you're not buying anything. Meaning, if you're into IR dating, you're not really over here for black men. You're over here to hear me give. You want me to go ahead and talk about what's been talked about for years. Here's the question for you, Casey. Where are the women? Where are the black women's channels talking about the issues with black women? Because there are plenty of channels talking about issues with black men, and there are plenty of men's channels talking about issues with men and women. Where are the black women's channels talking about issues with black women?
I feel like
I don't care
black
about what you
men
feel.
stats.
I care about what
I don't know any. I
Exactly.
don't know any.
Exactly. There you go. So how dare you come over here asking me for balance when you can't even come up with one? In freaking
Crystalline
sane.
did list white men.
In freaking sane. And this is why I let her talk. You're supposedly interracial dating, but you keep coming over to a black man's platform. Where's your fiance?
I am in my early 20s. I
Where's
don't
your
have one.
fiance? Where's your white boyfriend?
Oh, I have one.
Okay, when are you guys getting married?
I
Early 20s
don't
meaning early 20s
know.
meaning what?
I am 22.
22. Why do you have so much angst about black men if you have a white guy? Why aren't you off somewhere being happy on a Friday night with your boyfriend?
Well, I came to your channel because I wanted
No,
to
ma'am. I'm
see
asking.
your
No,
thoughts.
no, no, no. Really, you don't. Because if you did, you would be listening in good faith. Because I'm sorry, nothing that I say is not factually able to be backed up, and it's relatively balanced. I have far more balance than any swirl platform ever. That's a
You
laughable.
haven't lis-
That is a laughable notion. That
you
is
haven't
that
sorry.
that is laughable.
You
I've
haven't
had.
listed any negative black male stats and you don't talk about how
Excuse me. I have. You really? I'll
can you
challenge you.
list them?
I'll challenge you on that. How long have you been watching me, Casey?
I've been watching you for a couple of weeks
A
now.
couple of weeks. How long have I been on YouTube, Casey?
How long have you been on YouTube? I don't
Yes,
know,
Casey.
Kevin. I don't know.
So don't tell me. So really, I have 5 years of content, Casey, and you're going to tell me what I have not done in 2 weeks? You sound like a zip doggone fool. There's content on my channel. Look through the catalog. I'll stand on my work. I've been talking about men for 3+ years. But that's not the legit case. Women like you don't want to have black men, especially like black men like myself, saying anything negative about black women. You cannot take it. Shahrazad Ali's talked about this 30+ years ago. You're fine talking about the issues of black men and these dusties and this and that. But when a black man who's a thorough black man, who you can see is on the level of what you're talking about, has the same kind of talks about the fact, it bothers you so much that you leave Swirl Land and your white boyfriend to come over here to tell me what I need to talk about, and you ain't buying nothing from my restaurant. Get up out of here with this bull. Thank you. Come again. Seek therapy. You're too angry to be so young. Hello? Because your mom was a fat bi.
A 30-year-old woman comes into the conversation frustrated, feeling like her relationship outcomes aren't matching her expectations, and Kevin immediately challenges her to stop externalizing the blame and start looking at her own pattern of choices. She starts from a place of feeling misunderstood, like men aren't stepping up or dating dynamics are unfair, but Kevin pushes the idea that her results aren't random. They're actually consistent with the decisions she's been making over time. The core tension here is responsibility versus explanation. She keeps circling around what men are doing wrong or what society has changed, while he keeps pulling the focus back to her agency in the situation. At around age 30, that's where the urgency kicks in the discussion. Kevin's point isn't that her experiences aren't real, but that if she keeps interpreting everything as something happening to her rather than something she's participating in, nothing changes. The pressure he applies is basically, you don't get a new outcome by repeating the same approach and calling it unfair every time it doesn't work. He also leans into the idea that blaming becomes a comfort zone. It protects her from having to reassess her standards, her selection process, or her expectations, but it also locks her into the same cycle. The takeaway from this segment is pretty direct. At 30, if you want a different relationship outcome, the conversation has to shift from, why are men like this, to, what patterns am I continuing that lead me here? Until that shift happens, the results are likely to stay the same.